Okay, we're at it again. On the way to work. Slight downpour. Alright, let me get settled here. Running a little behind. Alright, hold on. Let me get everything straightened out. Oh, God. Our internet provider is Windstream. For those of you who want a warning about a shitty internet provider. And the cable that they strung to fix our internet has still not been buried 2 weeks later. My wife got on the phone and waited forever to talk to someone, probably in Indonesia, and was told, oh, there's no work order for the cable to be buried. It's a shitty company. Alright. Don't have as many CDs as possible. I had to rush out the door. Let's see what we have in the bag. Oh, goodness me. What do we got here? German crime novel. Audiobook. Disc 1. Hold on a second. I gotta turn. Next, The Church Heyday. The soundtrack to the movie Mighty Aphrodite. I picked this up at the cheapest thrift store in town. Get some really cheap stuff there. Anyway, it's a Mighty Aphrodite is a Woody Allen movie, and it is bad. It's a bad movie, and I don't know. It is, if it isn't the beginning of his ongoing slump, then it's very near the beginning of his slump. It's bad. Alright, yeah, but the soundtrack's pretty good. I didn't even know there was a soundtrack. It's a bunch of old songs, you know, from the 30s, 40s, and so forth. Next, I ordered 2 relatively recent albums by the band Yellow, and I got one of them in the mail a couple of days ago, so I have one of those. This is called The Eye. It came out in the last couple of years. Then we have High on Fire, Snakes for the Divine, and that's it. That's all I brought tonight. Normally I bring 8 or 9. Oh, my nose is running. Alright, I have some topics. As soon as I get squared away here, I'll pull the card out. Hold on, all these dog leg turns to make. Alright. Alright, number 1. Buell is dead. The founder and owner of the private Christian school that I went to from 4th grade till graduation was named Buell Cummings. His wife died about 2 years ago, and I did not, nobody told me. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, about 2 years ago his wife died. But nobody told me that he had died almost a year ago. Maybe he died 2 years ago. Anyway, whatever. The point is, for whatever reason, I don't know what happened, but I looked him up a couple of days ago and found out that he's dead too. I had no idea. I don't know why no one told me. And I want to go over a few things about him and that school. He ran, I don't think the place is still in business, but he used to own a store called the Athens Bible Bookstore, one of the two. And he claimed that over time, customers would come in the store and say, you know what we need? We need a Christian school in this town. And he finally decided, I'm the man to start that school. Well, I don't think, maybe 50% of his motivation was, the burning desire to inculcate children with a lifetime of fear and Christian morality. But I think equally his motivation was a business motivation. Because, oh shit, people coming, hold on. A lot of schools like that one were founded because of integration, desegregation. And a lot of people didn't want their kids going to school with black kids. That's just as plain as it can be. And it was a business decision because he knew he had a ready market. And, you know, when I started going to that school in 4th grade, I liked it because the contrast with my old school was quite dramatic. The school had carpeted floors, it had sheetrock walls, it had acoustic tile lowered ceilings, you know what I'm talking about, and air conditioning, and it was smaller and quieter, and over time, it took a long time for me to really turn against the school completely, turn against him and his whole family. A lot of it started when I started listening to rock and roll and got interested in getting in shape, going out with girls, realizing that I could make a place for myself in the larger world because I had always been a fat, lazy schlub. And when I, started to make some personal changes, I encountered a lot of resistance from my own family. You're dyeing your hair blonde? What are you, a homo? And they did not like my dyeing my hair at that school. But anyway, I still maintained a sort of... Let me back up a second. When his wife died, a year or two before he died, a lot of the people that I contacted, about it and discussed about it, the prevailing attitude was, he was okay, but that horrible wife of his, oh my God. Well, the thing is, they were both horrible. And the baseline reason is because Christianity is a lie. Okay? And him pushing that lie on impressionable kids is horrible. And the hardcore conservative Republican angle or variety of Christianity that he pushed was really bad. Okay? The equation of the Republican Party with Christianity just makes Christianity all the worse, and Republican Party politics all the worse. We heard all kinds of horrible things at that school, like FDR only created the welfare state to addict minorities to government handouts so that the Democratic Party would have a permanent majority. Hoover's policies were working if only we'd given them time. And the Civil War had nothing to do with slavery, nothing to do with race. That was another one. We heard all kinds of crazy shit at that school. And he presented this image of this smiling, benign old man. No, he was the foundational force behind all of that. Anyway, finding out he was dead, it kind of threw me for a loop. He was 90 something. Because I remember he told us when Pearl Harbor happened, he was in the middle of his senior year. So he was 18 in 1941. So he damn near made it to 100 years old. And I became an atheist when I was 20. And I became, I've told this story 100 times, but becoming an atheist didn't really change much about my personality, character, worldview. But after I got married, I stopped being a conservative, stopped being Republican leaning, and that's really when I started to turn against him. But anyway, I just wanted to go over that, my shock at finding out he was dead. Next. God damn it. Turn if you're going to turn. In between 3rd grade and 4th grade, the summer in between those 2 grades. Oh, 2 people going into the sex toy shop. Interesting. That used to be a Pizza Hut a long time ago. My mother signed me up for a summer program at I can't think of the name of the place. It's an Episcopal church here in Athens that has a lot of community outreach programs and things. They've always been that kind of church. And this program I went to in that summer wasn't religious in nature. It was, I really don't know what the hell it was about, but partially they didn't explain what the program was supposed to be about, and partially back then my head was in a fog all the time, and I never paid attention to anything that was happening around me. Anyway, they gave us, apparently what you were supposed to do is be working on this project at home the whole summer, not actually at the sessions. We had almost every day, I think. It's a bunch of kids, at least, maybe 25, 30, I can't remember. But anyway, at the beginning of that summer, they gave us a piece of paper, and you're supposed to fill it out, what your project was going to be, what it was going to include, what it was going to be, what it was going to entail. And I just thought it was like a sort of a preference sheet, something you're supposed to fill out. Oh, I like cartoons. Oh, I like puppet shows. Oh, I like this. I like that. Yeah. And choose the topic that your project is going to be about. And I can't remember now. It was either about ancient Egypt, or it was about, I think, maybe space travel. I can't remember. But anyway, so now the final day has arrived when you're supposed to turn in your project, present your project to the rest of the group. And I have nothing. And this older woman named Mrs. Wolf, who ran the thing, but she wasn't there every day. She was there for the final presentation. And she's like, okay, now we're going to hear from Lance Ash. And I'm like 8 years old, I think. And I have nothing. And I'm like, what are you talking about? What project? And she laid into me in front of all these people. And she had the form that I'd filled out at the beginning of the summer. And she goes, you you checked this and you checked that and you said this and you said that on the form. Where's it? Where's this? Where's that? I don't. What are you talking about? I don't know. And she made me feel like shit. Well, sometime weeks earlier, for whatever reason, I had copied some pictures of Egyptian gods onto big pieces of paper, and I brought them in just to show them, right? And the young people, I mean, at the time they seemed like adults, but they must have been about 20, 23, 24, who were the actual people who ran the program. They sort of jumped in to defend me in front of this woman, like, well, he did bring in this and that, you know, this thing earlier. And she kind of looked at me like, well, that's something, I guess. Anyway, at one of the sessions meetings, we had, I guess it was a crafts day or something, and I had made a dog out of a shoebox and toilet paper rolls, and just like a cardboard dog. And I was so proud of it. And on the very last day, we all went downstairs. This was at the church. It was upstairs at some rec room in the church, the Episcopal church. We went downstairs, and these people were really hippie-ish. And this dude with a beard and glasses, he's like, okay, we're going to pass a basket around with these little pieces of paper and a pencil. And I want you to write down your fondest memory of this summer and put the piece of paper in the basket. And I wrote down making the dog out of cardboard. And so when they had gathered all the pieces of paper, they took them out on the back porch of the church and burned them. He said, now the smoke containing that paper that you wrote on is in the air. It's in the air forever. And every time you breathe in for the rest of your life, you can remember the good memories of this summer program here at the church. And I kind of felt sad that they were burning my piece of paper. Anyway, that's just an example of the kind of happy memory I have from my childhood. Alright, what's next on the list? I don't have much. Okay. The last thing I have listed here is weights. Alright, my workout routine is weights one day, calisthenics the next, back and forth. Over the last week or two, I've changed how I do my weights. I had built up to doing 8 reps on each different movement or type of exercise with the weights. But sometimes it would just be so daunting because I wake up and I do the exercises before I go to work, and sometimes I wake up and I'm like, oh my god, today's weights day, I really don't want to do it. Well, I decided a couple weeks ago, screw it, I'm going to change how I do this, and I don't care if it conforms to the official way you're supposed to do stuff or not. On that, okay, and I try to do 6 circuits of all the different routines, right? I just decided to start off with 1 or 2 reps. The first circuit, 1 or 2 reps. Second circuit, 2 or 3 reps, and build up. And not only is it easier on the body, but it's just psychologically easier because you're like, yeah, I can do 1 or 2 reps, yeah. And then when your blood gets going, then you feel like doing more. And it's not just the weights thing, it's all of life. You feel like you have to do things a certain way because this famous person in a magazine or on TV says this is the way you're supposed to do it. And it's all bullshit. It's like my meditation. I have been meditating regularly almost 6 years, and I've just tried everything in the book, and I just have come up with my own way of doing it. Same thing with everything else. My painting, I paint the way I paint. I made it up. I taught myself everything. And you know, you can do anything you want in life, and you don't have to do it the way that you're supposed to. Anyway, what else can we go over real quick here? The second season of Bosch Legacy is coming out in October. Can't wait. But on the other hand, I'm a little bit wary. I know it's going to be disappointing in different ways. Nothing can maintain its peak quality forever. Well, let's see, what else? Stone's album's coming out in October. I think that's going to be good, because I think that they know it's going to be the last one. I think they know that death is looming. Supposedly Elton John is on it, and Paul McCartney's on it. Bill Wyman is on it. I think it'd be cool if they had Jimmy Page on it, you know. He did the guitar solo on One Hit to the Body. And I always prided myself that I figured out who did the guitar solo before I actually confirmed it. I'd listened to that song for years, and then, you know, as I became more and more familiar with the way that Jimmy Page plays, I was listening to it one day and I thought, you know what? That's Jimmy Page playing the guitar solo. And I looked it up, and sure enough, it is. It must be nice to have a really distinctive guitar technique, so people know who it is immediately. Alright, I think we're about at the end of the show. Cross your fingers.